The year was 2347, and humanity had been part of the Galactic Collective for exactly 100 years. They were considered the youngest species among 12 spacefaring civilizations that ruled the galaxy. There were tall, crystalline beings who had welcomed humans into their community with barely hidden disrespect. To them, Earth was nothing more than a small planet filled with weak creatures who had only recently learned how to travel between stars. Admiral Daniel Carter stood in the underground command center buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. He was 62 years old and had spent his entire life preparing for something he hoped would never happen. His face showed no emotion as he watched the holographic screens in front of him. Reports were coming in from every corner of human space, and none of them were good. Commander Mitchell walked into the room. She was 40 years old and known for her sharp thinking and complete loyalty. Her boots made clicking sounds on the polished floor as she approached the admiral. "Sir, the ambassador has demanded another inspection of our space stations," she said. "They say they detected strange energy readings near the moons of Jupiter." Carter's jaw tightened just a little. "Tell them we need another month to prepare. Say it is for diplomatic reasons." "That will be the 7th time we have delayed them this year, Admiral." "I know." He turned to look at her directly. His gray eyes carried a heavy burden she had never seen before. "But we need more time. Project Titan is not finished yet." Far across the galaxy on a planet made entirely of living crystal, the leader called an emergency meeting. High Arbiter was a being whose body glowed with purple light when it was angry. Right now that light was very bright indeed. It stood before representatives from all 12 species of the Galactic Collective. "The humans are hiding something," announced. Its voice echoed through the great chamber like thunder. "For many years they have been moving huge amounts of resources to secret locations. Their mining operations are 10,000 times larger than their small economy would need." Ambassador Al of the Swarm made clicking sounds with its insect mouth. "Maybe they are just wasteful. Young species often make such mistakes." "No," responded coldly. "We have watched humanity for 100 years. They are many things, but they are never wasteful. They are building something, and we must find out what it is before it is too late." Deep inside the mountain on Earth, a team of scientists worked day and night. Their leader was Dr. Cole. He was a man who had given up everything for his work. He had lost 2 wives and had no normal life at all. His genius made him valuable, but his obsession made him dangerous. "The engines are stable," reported Dr. Pierce. She was his second in command, and exhaustion was written all over her face. She pushed her dark hair away from her eyes. "We can begin the final steps." Cole nodded slowly as he stared at the plans in front of him. What they had built was beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was not just a ship. It was something that could change everything. "How long until we can turn it on?" he asked. 6 months if nothing goes wrong." Cole smiled, which was something he rarely did. "Then let us make sure nothing goes wrong." Admiral Carter received a private message from President. She led the United Earth government and had been elected because she believed in peace with the alien races. She knew nothing about Project Titan, and Carter wanted to keep it that way. "They are getting impatient," President said. Her image flickered slightly on the secure screen. "They are threatening to stop trading with us if we do not let them inspect our facilities immediately." "Madam President, I strongly suggest we do not allow any inspections right now. We are at a very important point in our military preparations." His eyes narrowed with suspicion. "What exactly are you hiding from me, Admiral?" Carter paused for just a moment. "Nothing that affects civilian matters, Madam President. Trust me when I say that everything I do is for the protection of our people." The call ended, and Carter stood alone in the darkness. He thought about his and the future they would live in. He thought about how the galaxy had treated humanity like children at best and prey at worst. That was about to change forever. In the cold darkness beyond the orbit of Neptune, something enormous was hidden. It was surrounded by a cloud of special particles that blocked all sensors. For decades, automated systems had been building something incredible. Now those systems were waking up one by one. Navigation equipment, the size of small moons, began to move. Weapons platforms larger than cities came online. And deep inside a structure bigger than some planets, a great machine opened its electronic eyes for the first time. The Colossus was awake. It was not just big, it was beyond imagination. The Colossus was a ship the size of a small world. Its surface was covered with mountains and oceans and cities. Millions of people could live inside it. Weapons covered every part of its shell. Each weapon was powerful enough to destroy entire fleets. The shields around it could stop anything known to science. And this was just the first one. Hidden throughout the outer reaches of the solar system, 6 more of these world ships were being built. Some were almost finished. Others still needed years of work, but together they represented something the galaxy had never seen before. Humanity had created weapons that could challenge any power in the universe. Admiral Carter knew what he had helped create. He knew the terrible responsibility that came with such power. The galaxy had pushed humanity into a corner for 100 years. Now humanity was pushing back. Whether that would lead to peace or destruction he could not say. But one thing was certain. The universe would never look at humans the same way again. The Colossus waited silently in the darkness. Its crew of millions went about their duties. Its weapons stood ready. Its engines hummed with power that could move worlds. And somewhere in its electronic brain, a simple countdown was ticking away. 6 months until full activation. 6 months until the galaxy learned what humanity had become. The secret that had been kept for a century was about to be revealed. And when it was, nothing would ever be the same again. 6 months passed since the Colossus first came alive, and the galaxy still knew nothing about what humanity had built. But secrets this big could not stay hidden forever. Captain stood on the observation deck of the Colossus, looking out at something his mind could barely understand. The inside of the ship was like a whole world. There were artificial mountains and engineered oceans. Cities filled with millions of workers sparkled under artificial sunlight. He had served in the Navy for 20 years, but nothing had prepared him for this. "First time seeing it from up here?" asked Lieutenant Commander Blake. She appeared beside him quietly. She was a tactical officer known for being cold and efficient, but had learned there was warmth hidden beneath her professional mask. "It never stops being overwhelming," admitted. "We built a planet, an actual planet with engines." Blake nodded and kept her eyes on the artificial horizon. 7 of them actually. The Colossus is just the main one. The other 6 are in different stages of completion scattered across the outer solar system. 7 planet ships, shook his head slowly. What are we going to do with them? Whatever we have to. Admiral Carter had moved his command to the Colossus to watch over the final preparations. In his temporary office, he met with the commanders of Earth's secret fleet. These were the most trusted military minds humanity had ever produced. "They have asked for a joint military exercise near the Alpha Relay," Carter announced to the group. "They want to see how our ships fight." General was an old soldier who had fought space pirates for decades. He made a sound of disgust. "See how we fight. They mean find our weaknesses so they can use them against us later." "Exactly," Carter agreed. "Which is why we will say no. We will tell them we are reorganizing our defense forces." Commander Mitchell pulled up a map of the galaxy on the display screen. "Sir, our spies tell us they are not the only ones who suspect something. The swarm has been listening to our communications. The Confederation has moved spy satellites closer to our solar system." "Let them watch," Carter said calmly. "What they see will only confirm what they already think, that humanity is a small power barely worth their attention." Dr. Cole had also moved to the Colossus. His team worked without rest to perfect the ship's main weapon. The quantum annihilator was the greatest scientific achievement in human history. It could fold space itself into a wave of destruction that could destroy entire star systems. The power of this weapon is beyond anything I thought possible, Cole explained to a room full of senior officers. One shot could collapse a star into a black hole. Multiple shots fired together could theoretically tear apart a whole section of the galaxy. The room went silent. Even battle-hardened soldiers turned pale at what they heard. "We built a weapon that could destroy the galaxy," whispered Colonel Hayes. "We built a weapon that makes sure no one will ever threaten humanity again," Cole corrected. His eyes had a strange light in them. "The galaxy has treated us like prey for 100 years. Now we have become the hunters." Admiral Carter raised his hand for quiet. "The quantum annihilator is meant to scare our enemies into leaving us alone, nothing more. Our goal has always been to keep humanity safe, not to kill everyone else." But doubt had been planted in the minds of everyone present. Carter knew that the line between protection and destruction was very thin indeed. On the High Arbiter received a disturbing message from its best spy. This spy was a human who had been bought with promises of wealth and technology that could make him live forever. "They call it Project Titan," the secret message said. "I do not know all the details, but the amount of resources they are using is beyond anything I have ever seen. Whatever they are building, it is hidden beyond Neptune inside a cloud of special particles." His body flickered with nervous energy. "Send a secret spy fleet to the human system. I want to see with my own eyes what they are hiding." "That would break the rules of the Galactic Charter," warned Arbiter Hose, who was chief advisor. "We are not supposed to enter their space without permission." "The charter was made for civilized species," replied coldly. "Humanity has shown they do not deserve such consideration. They are hiding something, and we will find out what it is, with their permission or without." Back on the Colossus, a young officer named Timothy saw something strange on his sensor screens. His hands shook as he studied the data. They shook even more when he understood what it meant. "Commander Blake, you need to see this right now." Blake crossed the bridge in 3 quick steps. "What is it?" 12 contacts coming toward us from direction 047 Mark III. They are moving at almost the speed of light. Their shape matches stealth reconnaissance ships." Blake's face became hard as stone. "They found us. How long until they get here?" "About 72 hours at their current speed." "Sound the alarm, and get me Admiral Carter immediately." The secret that humanity had protected for 100 years was about to be discovered. Neither humanity nor the galaxy would ever be the same after what came next. Admiral Carter received the news in his quarters. He had been sleeping for the first time in days, but now sleep was forgotten. He dressed quickly and made his way to the command center, where his officers waited with fear in their eyes. "Show me," he ordered. The main screen displayed 12 small dots moving steadily toward them. They were ships designed to spy without being seen. They were some of the best stealth vessels in the galaxy, and they were coming straight for the particle cloud that hid humanity's greatest secret. "Options?" Carter asked. "We could destroy them before they get close enough to see anything," Captain suggested. "It would reveal our position, but not what we have built." "They would just send more," Carter replied. "No, we have been preparing for this moment for a century. It is time to show them what humanity is capable of." He took a deep breath and made the decision that would change history. "Clear the particle cloud. Let them see everything." Commander Mitchell hesitated. "Sir, are you sure? Once they know, we can never go back to the way things were." "There was never any going back, Commander. Give the order." The moment of truth had arrived. After 100 years of hiding, humanity was about to step into the light, and the galaxy was not ready for what it was about to see. The spy fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the strange particle cloud. Fleet Commander Al had fought in countless battles against weaker species and felt completely confident in the power of its ships. "Begin scanning," Al ordered. Whatever the humans are hiding, we will find it. For 3 hours, the ship searched the cloud with every sensor they had. They found energy readings that were massive beyond belief, but the strange particles in the cloud blocked their instruments from seeing clearly. Al grew more and more frustrated as time passed. "Send in the drones," the commander decided. "If we cannot see through the cloud, we will send machines inside to look for us." On the Colossus, Admiral Carter watched the drones launch from the enemy ships. "They found us. How long until those drones can see us clearly?" 47 minutes, Commander Blake reported. "What do you want to do, sir?" asked Captain. Carter looked at the people around him. These men and women had dedicated their lives to this moment. They had sacrificed everything to give humanity a chance at survival. Now that chance had arrived. "Disperse the particle cloud," Carter ordered. "Let them see what we have built." Across thousands of kilometers, the engineered particles that had hidden humanity's secret began to fade away. Fleet Commander Al watched in confusion as the interference on its sensors slowly cleared. Then confusion turned into something the rarely felt: pure, overwhelming terror. "By the eternal crystal," Al whispered, "what have they created?" The Colossus hung in space like a god made real. Its surface was a landscape of weapon platforms and shield generators and engine systems. Each single weapon was bigger than the biggest warship. Cities sparkled on its artificial continents. Oceans of cooling liquid caught the distant sunlight and glowed blue. And surrounding it in various stages of completion, 6 more world ships waited in silent threat. "Send a message to High Command immediately," Al ordered. Its voice cracked with fear it could not hide. "Emergency Priority 1. The humans have built mobile battle planets. I repeat, mobile battle planets. Request reinforcements and permission to retreat." The message traveled across the galaxy faster than light. Within hours, the Galactic Council was in emergency session. Representatives from 12 species struggled to understand the reports flooding their screens. "This is impossible," declared the ambassador. Its snake-like body coiled anxiously. "Our scientists said that building artificial planets of that size was impossible. The structures would collapse under their own weight." "Clearly human scientists found a way around that problem," High Arbiter replied. Its crystalline body pulsed with barely controlled rage. "We underestimated them. We dismissed them as primitive beings, and now they have weapons that could destroy our combined fleets." "Perhaps this is just for defense," suggested the representative. "Humanity has been treated badly by many of us. Building these vessels may simply be a response to real threats against their safety." "Defense?" His voice rose to a painful pitch. 7 world ships with weapons that can make planets uninhabitable. This is not defense. This is preparation for conquest. On the Colossus, Admiral Carter prepared for the conversation he had both feared and anticipated for decades. His holographic display showed signals coming in from every major power in the galaxy. He answered them all at the same time. "Leaders of the Galactic Collective," he began. His voice was calm and measured despite the historic moment. "For 100 years, humanity has been part of your community. In that time, we have been looked down upon and used and pushed aside. Our concerns have been ignored. Our borders have been violated. Our people have been treated as second-class citizens." He paused to let his words sink in. "This ends now. The vessels you have discovered are humanity's guarantee of safety in a galaxy that has shown us nothing but disrespect. We do not want war. We do not want to conquer anyone. We want only what every species deserves: respect and dignity and the right to choose our own future." High Arbiter responded immediately. Its tone dripped with barely hidden hostility. "You dare lecture us about rights while pointing weapons of mass destruction at our worlds. This is an act of war against the entire galactic community." "No, Arbiter, this is an act of survival. For 100 years your species has treated humanity as prey to be eaten when convenient. Your trade policies have strangled our growth. Your military has surrounded our system. Your spies have invaded our governments. Carter's eyes became hard as steel. Did you think we did not know? Did you think we would not prepare? On Earth, President watched the exchange with horror. The secret she had been kept from was now known across the galaxy. She realized that Admiral Carter had been planning this moment for longer than she had been alive. The ground beneath her feet suddenly felt very unstable. The galaxy stood at a crossroads. Humanity had revealed itself not as the weak primitive species everyone had assumed, but as a power capable of challenging the established order. No one, not even the humans themselves, knew what would happen next. The spy fleet retreated at maximum speed. They had come looking for a secret, and they had found one. But it was not the secret they had expected. They had expected to find evidence of human weakness. Instead, they had found proof of human strength beyond anything the galaxy had ever imagined. Admiral Carter ended his transmission and sat down heavily in his command chair. Around him, his officers waited in tense silence. "What happens now, sir?" Commander Mitchell asked quietly. Carter looked out at the stars visible through the observation window. Somewhere out there, trillions of beings were learning about what humanity had built. Some would be terrified, some would be angry, some would be curious, and some would start planning how to destroy what they had just discovered. "Now we wait," Carter said. "We have shown them our strength. What they do next will determine whether we live in peace or go to war. Either way, humanity will never be pushed around again." The Colossus continued its silent orbit. Its weapons remained powered and ready. Its shields hummed with energy. And across the galaxy, species that had never thought twice about humanity suddenly could not stop thinking about them. The balance of power had shifted forever. The only question now was whether the galaxy could accept this new reality, or whether it would tear itself apart trying to destroy it. 3 months had passed since humanity revealed its secret to the galaxy. The universe was filled with tension and fear. Trade routes that had been busy for thousands of years fell silent as species retreated to their own territories. Military fleets that had once patrolled neutral space now gathered to protect. And at the center of everything, humanity waited to see what would happen next. Admiral Carter had moved his command to the second world ship called the Leviathan. It now orbited Earth as both protector and symbol of human power. The Colossus remained in the outer solar system. Its quantum annihilator pointed at nothing in particular, but the message was clear to everyone. Humanity was no longer asking for respect. It was demanding it. Captain had been promoted to Commodore and given command of a regular fleet. His job was to protect the space between Earth and the Leviathan. He spent his days organizing patrol routes and his nights wondering if he was preparing for a war that would end all civilization. "They are gathering ships near the Tau Relay," reported Lieutenant Commander Blake during their morning meeting. 12 heavy cruisers and 40 support ships. "That is a big force," observed, "but nothing compared to what we have." "It is not about numbers, sir. It is about what they are planning. They are testing us, looking for weaknesses." Nodded with a grim expression. "Then we do not show them any weaknesses. Keep our ships on high alert and send more scouts to watch the relay." Meanwhile, Dr. Cole was starting to lose his mind. The man who had designed humanity's greatest weapons had begun to see enemies everywhere. He demanded more security around all research areas. He accused his fellow scientists of sabotage when experiments did not work perfectly. And he pushed for the immediate activation of the remaining 5 world ships, even though they were not ready. "The galaxy is preparing to attack us," he insisted during a private meeting with Admiral Carter. "We must attack first. A strike against them would eliminate the greatest threat and show everyone our power." Carter looked at the scientist with a mixture of pity and worry. "We built these weapons to prevent war, not to start one." "Prevention through demonstration," Cole argued. His eyes burned with a strange, intense light. "The galaxy will never respect us until they fear us, and they will never fear us until they see our power destroy something. Fear creates hatred, and hatred creates desperation. A desperate enemy is the most dangerous kind. I will not order any attack unless we are directly attacked first." Cole's expression changed to something darker and more threatening. "Then, perhaps you are not the right person to lead humanity into this new age." The threat hung in the air between them, unspoken but very clear. Carter made a mental note to have people watch the scientist more closely. Genius, he reminded himself, often walked hand in hand with madness. On the High Arbiter called a secret meeting of military commanders and war planners. The crystalline being's form glowed with cold determination. "Our first reports were correct," said Grand Marshal Ra. "The human world ships are a threat to the Empire and possibly to all advanced life in the galaxy. However, they are not impossible to destroy." "Explain," commanded. "The ships are huge, but their size creates weaknesses. They cannot move as fast as normal warships. Their shields are powerful but cannot protect every angle at the same time. And their crews are still living beings with all the weaknesses that come with being alive. Do you believe we can destroy them?" Ra paused before answering. "No, High Arbiter, not with our forces alone. But if every species in the collective joined together, our combined fleets might have a chance. At the very least, we could destroy enough of the world ships to force humanity to negotiate." Considered this carefully. The Galactic Collective had never truly united for war before. Each species kept its own military and followed its own interests. But the human threat might accomplish what thousands of years of diplomacy could not. "Begin reaching out to the other council members," decided. "Quietly and carefully. Present this as a defensive alliance against human aggression. Those who join us will share whatever we take after humanity is defeated. Those who refuse will face consequences for their cowardice." The pieces were moving across the great game board of the galaxy. Each side was planning for advantage. Each side believed it understood what was at stake, but neither humanity nor its enemies truly understood the forces they were about to unleash. On the Colossus, Ensign Timothy detected another strange reading on his screens. This time it was not a spy fleet. It was communication signals. Encrypted messages were passing between every major power in the galaxy. The patterns were impossible to misunderstand. "Commander Blake," he reported with urgency in his voice. "They are talking to each other, all of them. Every species in the collective is sharing military information." Blake studied the analysis and her face grew pale. "They are not just talking, they are planning something together." She reached for the communication system. "Get me Admiral Carter immediately." When Carter heard the news, his worst fears were confirmed. The galaxy had decided that humanity was too dangerous to be allowed to exist. Instead of accepting humans as equals, the other species had chosen to unite against them. "How long until they can attack?" Carter asked. "Unknown, sir," Blake replied. "But based on the amount of communication traffic, I would guess weeks, not months." Carter stood silent for a long moment. He had hoped that showing humanity's strength would lead to peace. Instead, it had led to exactly what he had feared most: a war for survival against the entire galaxy. "Recall all ships to defensive positions," he ordered. "Begin full activation of all world ships, ready or not. And someone find Dr. Cole. I need to know if the quantum annihilator is ready to fire." The storm that humanity had feared for a century was finally coming. The only question now was whether humanity would survive it. The attack came without warning, as all great attacks do. Admiral Carter was aboard the Leviathan when the first wave arrived. 300 warships from 5 different species appeared from faster-than-light travel at the same moment. Their weapons were already charging. This was the largest military operation in galactic history, and its goal was simple: destroy the human world ships before they could be fully used. "All ships to battle stations," Carter commanded. His voice stayed steady despite the chaos exploding around him. "Commodore, engage the enemy on our left side. Leviathan, bring main weapons online now." The space around Earth became a nightmare of energy beams and missiles and exotic weapons. Dreadnoughts fought against human cruisers. Swarm ships launched millions of tiny attack drones. They used their feared gravity weapons to tear ships apart from the inside. Against such overwhelming numbers, normal human defenses would have been destroyed in minutes. But there was nothing normal about what humanity had built. The Leviathan's weapons opened fire, and each shot was powerful enough to destroy a small moon. Enemy ships disappeared by the dozens. Their shields meant nothing against weapons designed to crack planets apart. The world ship's gravity generators created twisted zones of space that sent entire enemy squadrons spinning into destruction. But still, the enemy kept coming. "The Colossus reports that the Quantum Annihilator is ready to fire," Commander Mitchell reported. "Dr. Cole is asking for permission to use full power against the—" Carter's blood turned to ice. "Absolutely not. The Quantum Annihilator is a last resort, not a first-strike weapon. Tell Cole that if he tries to fire without my direct order, I will have him arrested." "Sir, he is not answering our calls. I think he may be trying to override the safety systems." "Then send someone to stop him, right now." On the Colossus, Dr. Cole stood before the firing controls of the most destructive weapon ever created by any species. His hands trembled not with fear but with excitement. For decades he had dreamed of this moment. The moment when humanity would prove its superiority once and for all. "Step away from the controls." Cole turned to find Dr. Pierce standing behind him. A security team stood at her back with weapons drawn. Her face showed grief and determination mixed together. Cole said, his voice was strangely calm, "You do not understand. This is our chance. One shot and they are gone forever. The other species will surrender within days. And then what? We rule the galaxy through fear. We become the monsters that justify everything terrible they ever thought about us." "We survive," Cole replied. "That is all that matters." "No, how we survive matters too." Pierce stepped closer and held out her hand. "Please do not do this. Do not turn our greatest achievement into our greatest shame." For a long moment Cole seemed uncertain. Then something changed behind his eyes and Pierce knew she had failed to reach him. His hand moved toward the firing button. The security team fired their stun weapons. Cole collapsed before he could complete the action. Pierce caught him as he fell with tears running down her face. "Take him to the medical bay," she ordered, "and lock down this console. No one fires this weapon without the Admiral giving the command directly." The battle continued to rage around Earth, but the tide was slowly turning. The enemy alliance was powerful, but they had underestimated what the world ships could do. For every human ship they destroyed, they lost 50 of their own. For every small victory they achieved, they paid for it with thousands of lives. After 18 hours of continuous fighting, High Arbiter sent a message asking for a ceasefire. Admiral Carter accepted. "You have proven your point," said. Its crystalline body was dim with exhaustion and defeat. "Humanity cannot be conquered, but this changes nothing. You are still a threat to galactic civilization." Carter shook his head slowly. "You still do not understand. We never wanted to be a threat. We wanted to be equals. And now, whether you like it or not, we are. So what happens from here? Now we talk. Really talk for the first time in 100 years. About trade agreements that do not take advantage of weaker species. About security arrangements that respect borders. About a galaxy where power is not the only thing that matters." Was silent for a long time. "The other species will never accept this. Too much blood has been spilled today. Blood can be washed away when people find a common purpose. Give us a chance, Arbiter. Let us prove that humanity's greatest strength is not our weapons. It is our ability to forgive and cooperate and build something better than what existed before." The galaxy held its breath as considered. Then slowly the crystalline being lowered its head in agreement. "Very well, Admiral. Let us see what your species can truly accomplish." 1 year later, the first galactic accord was signed aboard the Colossus. The great warship had been converted into a diplomatic station, orbiting neutral space between human territory and the rest of the galaxy. The agreement was not perfect. Old hatreds did not disappear overnight. But for the first time in galactic history, every species sat at the same table as equals. Admiral Daniel Carter now served as humanity's first ambassador to the Galactic Council. He watched the signing ceremony with quiet satisfaction. Beside him stood Commodore and Commander Mitchell. "Do you think it will last?" asked. Carter thought about the question carefully before answering. "Nothing lasts forever, but every day of peace is a victory. Every child who grows up without knowing war is a triumph. That is what we fought for. That is what the world ships protected." Mitchell smiled slightly. "And if they ever forget that lesson?" Carter glanced out the observation window, where the Leviathan orbited in silent watch. It was a reminder of what humanity could do if pushed too far. "Then we will remind them." The galaxy had changed forever. Humanity had changed it. And while the future remained uncertain, one truth had been proven beyond any doubt. When the universe had looked at humanity and seen weakness, it had been wrong. And now the universe would never make that mistake again. The stars stretched out endlessly in every direction. Somewhere out there new challenges waited. New enemies might rise. New friends might be found. But whatever came next, humanity was ready. They had always been ready. The galaxy just had not known it until now.